All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insanely 13, and we are preparing to get underway for a stream for something that's a little bit unique. We are doing another Enduro coverage. It's not going to be the full Enduro set, but we will be covering 2/3 of this Enduro that the IARA League is going to be hosting here with a very unique rule set. This is a rule set based off of the late 1990s and early 2000s GT1 rule set that ran at Le Mans and had its own championship for a time, but it is based on the more modern supercars and hypercars that are in Forza Motorsport 8. Real quick, let's go ahead and look at some of the cars that will be partaking and some of the drivers. Sergeant Stravosky is going to be in one of the Brabhams. Mullet 56 will be in the 56 McLaren. Tangled Ovixen is going to be in the number 100 McLaren. Primo Carnivore will be in the 21 McLaren. AFMG Land 101, who has been drinking all night and is barely staying awake, is going to be in another one of the McLarens, the 101. And AFZ Maverick will be jumping into the number 22 Aston Martin Vulcan. Midnight Dash MLP will be in the number 24 Aston Martin Vulcan. Floppy Disk Hero will be in the Ferrari FXXK number 70. RP Mullet will be in another FXXK, but we can't seem to see the paint on their design, sadly. Mr. Marmol will be in the number 8 Ferrari FXXK. Apex Predator is going to be in the Apollo number 60 machine. And the El Cosmic will be in the number 16 Pagani Huayra. We also have SRD Shredder, who is trying to load into the event, but it seems like every time he loads in, he gets booted from the event shortly afterwards. We're not sure how much longer the event is going to be waiting for him, as we are already running way behind schedule. Of note, this is going to be taking some highlights from Tour Enduros, but it's not going to be a direct copy of a Tour Enduro. These events are going to be an hour and 45 minutes of racing. As you can see, we're already well past 15 minutes in the hour, so we're already set way behind schedule. We've not loaded on track yet. There's been a lot of technical issues going on behind the scenes that is holding everything up. But instead of just doing the 100 minutes of racing and then stop, in this we're going to be doing 105 minutes of racing before stopping. They also are going to be experimenting with a slightly alternate way of recording data rather than what Tour does. Also of note, there's not going to be a set pace lap at the beginning or a prolonged run around the field until you get to a designated starting point and then going. It's going to be a rolling start from what I believe is going to be a standing start for the first one, and all the other stints I believe are going to have a rolling start, and you'll be going after a 10-second countdown from the start line. We anticipate, we can't guarantee, but we anticipate that it's going to be... We anticipate that it is going to be a relatively clean and green event with most of the field getting relatively spread out. Again, we're looking at about 12 to 13 cars starting today's event. Interesting thing is that while the McLaren was very popular when signups opened up and a lot of teams and drivers jumped into the McLaren, as the weeks have gone on leading up to this event, there's been a lot of talk in the paddock that the McLaren may not actually be the best car. A lot of drivers talking about the Pagani Huayra having a lot of potential, drivers talking about the Brabham having a lot of extra potential as well. So while McLarens make up the majority of the field in terms of numbers, they may not be the automatic walk-off dominant car for today's event. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now. All right, it looks like we finally got Shredder, who's going to be in the Lamborghini Essenza for today's event. Other things to remember, we are going to be dealing with power handicaps, so different cars will have different power handicaps. Another thing as well, this Forza Motorsport has brought in tire wear modifiers in this event. Most events typically turn the tire wear modifiers up, so you burn through the tires a little bit faster, open up more strategies. That's not going to be the case here. In this case, the tire wear multiplier has been turned down. Everything is down to a 0.5x. When it comes to tire wear, what does that mean? That means that while the tires still will fall off relatively quickly just because of the nature of these cars, we will be going much, much slower through the tires compared to normal. And they keep messing around with the settings here. We're going to try and extend as long as we can with the race early on here. Still can't see all of the paint schemes, but we have gotten the vast majority of them, and we anticipate to get underway momentarily here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for how late things have been running. There's been a lot of technical issues going on behind the scenes here. The officials have also been nice enough to reach out to us and give us access to a live timing document. So while we won't really be covering that in Stint 1, once we get to Stints 2, 3, and Stint 4, we will be here. We also are not likely going to be here for Stints 5 and 6 unless something else happens, as we do have prior engagements with X League's GT3 Pro race at Sebring during the time that Stints 5 and 6 are going to be going on. But we will be here for the first 4 stints, and we will try to direct viewers to in-race streamers that will be covering other stints at that time. We're going to try and knock out Twitch mandated ad break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll be loading onto the circuit for Stint 1 here at Silverstone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Silverstone. As you can see, the lobby is getting readied up right now. Interesting thing is, despite having a relatively small field, there are a lot of different cars available, and we have 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 starting spots for the event, so things seem to be relatively competitive, at least when it comes to qualifying. NDL Cosmic in the Pagani will be first, SRD Shredder in the Mercedes AMG 1 will be second, Primo Carnivore in the McLaren will be third, AFZ Maverick in the Aston Martin Vulcan will be fourth, Floppy Disk Hero in the Ferrari FXXK will be 5th. Tangled Vixen will be in the first repeat, will be a McLaren. AFMG Lamb will be in the next Senna. Apex Predator in 8th will be in the Apollo. RP Mullet 9th will be the Ferrari. Mullet in 10th will be the Senna. Midnight Dash MLP will be dead last, 13th, sadly. Mr. Marmol is going to be 11th in another Ferrari. Storvosky will be 12th in the Brabham. As I said, Midnight Dash will be last in the last of the Aston Martin Vulcans. I got to briefly talk to Midnight Dash before the event started. Midnight Dash said, hey, look, I'm going for Enduro. He's one of 2 drivers in the events going all Enduro. Midnight Dash and SRD Shredder are both going to be running all 6 stints solo. Midnight Dash said, hey, look, I bombed my qualifying. I'm not worried about that too much. He is here for the long haul. He is really here to show that he can stick around for a full 12-hour Enduro. While we can't stick around for all 12 hours of those, we will be here for the first 2/3, and we wish him good luck. The same goes for SRD Shredder, who thinks he can get a top 3 result while Ironmanning all 12 hours of the event tonight, as we are now beginning to load onto the circuit properly here to get underway at Silverstone. Be aware, Silverstone is a very technical circuit, very downforce focused. There's not a lot of downforce on these cars. I'm not saying there's none at all, but there's not a lot of downforce on these cars. Handling is going to be at a premium. Tuning is up for however everyone can do to their cars as necessary. This is not a fixed tune Enduro. This is an open tune Enduro. As the field rolls out of the final corner here, and we'll be taking the green flag momentarily. And we are underway at Silverstone, and immediately everyone is accelerating down to the line. It is Shredder running just ahead of Cosmic. For the moment, Shredder has the station. Gonna keep an eye on the penalties because there are penalties in the event. Shredder on the inside, Cosmic on the outside. Shredder is able to lunge ahead of NDL Cosmic. Shredder puts his Lamborghini up in front just for the moment. Not Lamborghini, Mercedes up in front just for a moment. NDL's Team Noodle falls back to second. Already the top two have pulled a massive gap as Maverick is fighting back here with Primo Carnivore. Neck and neck, side by side between these two GT1 cars. Absolutely beautiful sight. Wildly different vehicles as they come down to the end of the straightaway. We see the 22 turn in just a little bit into the 21, side by side, door to door between the two of them. Coming out of the corner, they're still side by side, but it looks like Maverick is going to just barely nip Primo Carnivore for the position. Big twitch, big slide, he's wide, and now you see Maverick is going to fall back behind Carnivore. Carnivore back in front of Maverick now. They come down the old start-finish straightaway into this hard right-hand corner. These cars are a little bit too fast to make an overtaking zone here, but now the field comes down to Maggots and Beckett's. We take a look at the top two, nearly side-by-side. NDL Cosmic stalking. SRD Shredder at the head of the field, gets right behind Shredder's rear wing as each of these corners continue to get tighter and tighter. But it looks like the 16 is going to fall in line behind the 110. Now onto the fastest and longest straightaway on the circuit here. Cosmic has a great draft, piling down on Shredder, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a big move. Going to the corner, he's going for it anyway. Big lunge, gets big door-to-door contact. Cosmic gets the tires on the curbs, gets himself sideways. Shredder is just barely able to hold station over Cosmic. Now they come into the final chicane. Shredder started second, took the lead in just 3 quarters, but Cosmic has not let him go. They're coming out of the final chicane this time by. Very difficult to get the traction down on these cars out of this corner. For the moment, though, it looks like it's going to be Shredder just barely ahead of NDL Cosmic. Carnivore is pulled away from AFC Maverick just a little bit. AFMG Lamb dealing with a hangover and a lack of sleep is somehow keeping that thing in 5th right now. Farther back, other drivers to keep an eye on. Midnight-MLP has gone from 13th to 11th in just the first lap, and that blue and yellow MLP-inspired machine. So one of our Ironman drivers has moved up 1 spot to the lead. The other one has moved up 2 spots from the start. But Midnight Dash is under pressure from Apex Predator farther back right now. A little bit farther up the grid, this is Starton Stravosky, one of the big drivers, big IARA members that had a big help in organizing the event. It looks like Tango the Vixen has had some sort of incident. He has gone off in the first few corners. No signs of damage, but whatever has caused him to gone off, he has now fallen to last place on the grid now. Meanwhile, back at the front, NDL Cosmic still hangs out just a little bit behind SRD Shredder at the moment. Down the old start-finish straightaway, but the gap between first and second is opening up just a little bit more this time by. Shredder starting to pull along Cosmic. Carnivore runs in 3rd position, pretty much solo for the moment. As we see the field coming down through Maggots and Beckett's this time by. Already a lot of spread in the grid from the top to the back. And we'll take a little bit of a look at what the tire strategy and the fuel strategy is a little bit later on. That may be the last chance we'll get for this stint to see the entire field all relatively close to each other here. And Shredder has now been the first driver on track to earn a distance penalty, not a time penalty, a distance penalty of 29 thousandths of a mile. It's not much, but being the first driver to earn a distance penalty suggests bad times ahead for our current leader, as NDL Cosmic holding out in 2nd position right now. Gets a great draft on Shredder here. Carnivore still runs in 3rd. Maverick holds on in 4th. He is pulled away from everyone else. So has AFMG Lamb 101 in 5th. Floppy Disk Hero in 6th. Can see Land ahead, but not really close to do anything. You have to go back to this duo, Sarvin Stravosky and Mr. Marmol, for the next real fight on the circuit. Marmol closing in behind Stravosky. 22 slides just a little bit. Here comes Marmol looking on the outside. He's going to try the crossover on this near hairpin-like chicane. And then a very technical corner coming onto this straightaway. Marmol is going to have a good draft on Stravosky down the straightaway this time by. Can he do anything to him this time? It does not look like it. It looks like Stravosky is far enough ahead of Marmol to keep anything from happening this time by. And Marmol seemed to straight line the exit a bit and really compromise his exit speed. All right, we look back to the leaders once again. Shredder leads. NDL Cosmic runs in 2nd, but again, distance penalties do apply in this event. And Shredder is the only driver on circuit with a distance penalty right now. Through Maggots and Beckett's once again. Cosmic trying to close back in on that 110 once more. But Cosmic hasn't been able to get alongside Shredder. He's been able to stay in the tire tracks of him. The draft has been really good at keeping the top two on top of each other, but we have not seen a legitimate change for position. Shredder, I've worked with him in other stuff before, both as driver, as organizing, but Shredder is one of those drivers who is very sensitive to the inverse aero wash in the game. He says that he can really feel when a car is behind him because the game likes to do inverse aero wash where the driver leading in a two-car draft pack ends up losing front end grip. He says he's very sensitive to that, feels that a lot. I imagine that right now, Shredder having Cosmic right behind him has really compromised his line. Here comes Cosmic to the inside, side by side for a lead as they come down to turn number 1. Cosmic has the inside line. Shredder's going to try to hold it around the outside as they come down to turn number 2. Shredder gets tires on the curbing, and now he falls behind Cosmic. Cosmic goes to the lead for the first time after starting on the pole, but now Cosmic finally gets back to the front. So now it is Cosmic who leads SRD Shredder as they're coming through these chicanes. And now onto the first of several straightaways on the circuit. Shredder's going to have draft this time. He does not have anyone right behind him. He can just try and focus forward at the moment now. Real quickly, let's look at the tire wear of the drivers still on circuit right now. 6% tire wear for Cosmic at the head of the field. SRD Shredder, who is in second right now, he is at 7% tire wear. So that is the other thing for Shredder. He's very good at saving tires on ovals. He is atrocious at saving tires on road courses, and this may end up paying very natively for him going forward. Primo Carnivore, who runs a little bit farther back in third, he is already at 7% tire wear as well. So it looks like right now, between our top three, Cosmic is the one better off when it comes to tire management at this stage of the event. Now the field fires it off down into Maggots and Beckett's once again. Cosmic has a big hiccup over the curbs, really sliding, not having a good time at all in the middle of Maggots and Beckett's, but Shredder's just a little bit too far back to really do anything with them. He'll be close enough to have the draft, but I don't think we're going to see moves by Shredder. And now we see AFMG land back there in 5th. He gets a time penalty now. Cosmic's going to go for a normal line at the end of the straightaway, and Shredder is not going to go in deep and lunge for the move. So Cosmic leads, and Shredder runs in second right now. Coming down into the final chicane once again, just about nose to tail. And now you can see that these positions have swapped. Now it is Cosmic who looks like he is struggling a lot more. And Shredder seems to be a lot better, especially that final corner. Shredder had a much smoother line in the final corner this time than Cosmic. So the inverse aero wash seems to be very impactful in these modern GT1 cars. Again, reduced amounts of downforce in these machines. A lot of these drivers are running max front aero and maximum rear aero just to try and help with any bit of extra turning they can get in today's event. Cosmic might have started to figure it out because now Cosmic is starting to gap Shredder just a little bit on the circuit here. Shredder is still close enough to get the draft. The draft is very strong, but it does look like Cosmic is starting to figure it out and let things come to him. Again, Cosmic having a little bit better job managing his tires as well. Farther back, Floppy Disk Hero runs behind AFMG Land at the moment. Remember, the race timer says an hour and 51 minutes. We are not going to do the full 2-hour run. They will run until 15 minutes left. Once it gets to 15 minutes left, they will all stop Taurus style on the circuit wherever they are. This is Floppy Disk Hero, one of those in that number 44, trying to close down on AFMG Land just ahead. We ride on board with him as they go through Magnus and Beck. As you can see, Maverick farther up in 4th. He now has a distance penalty of 15 thousandths of a mile. So slowly the distance penalties are starting to accumulate. And again, this is an endurance event. And those distance penalties will add up in a bad way as the race continues. But our top 4, Cosmic, Shredder, Carnivore, and Maverick, have really gapped away from the rest of the field. This is the closest thing we have to a legitimate battle that's not at the head of the field. And then a little bit farther back, this is Mr. Marmol and Sergeant Stravosky here. And then behind them, Predator has worked his way up into the 9th position, just ahead of Mullet 56. Midnight Dash seems to have stabilized in 11th place. 12th goes to Mullet. Tango to Vixen has fallen to 13th after that, what we think may have been a spin earlier that we missed. He doesn't really seem to have shown any progress. He's making his way back up through the grid right now. Shredder's fallen pretty much out of the draft of Cosmic, I believe. So Cosmic should be able to start gapping the Mercedes here without too much issue, or at least that's what you would think. Cosmic, no distance penalties yet, shockingly. As we look back at this duo of Stravosky and Marmol. Again, tire wear is set to 0.5x wear, so the tires have a little bit more life in them than what they normally would have in these events. Now Cosmic gets a distance penalty of 0.019 miles, still less than Shredder, but it does not look like he is just invincible at the head of this field, it would appear. And now Shredder gets an even bigger distance penalty, 0.048 miles. So the top two really pushing track limits, knowing that they are faster than Carnivore and Maverick behind. They realize they may be able to add up a small amount of distance penalties and not worry about compromising them too much as they are fighting with each other at the head of this grid. Marmol now has a draft on Stravosky as they head down the longest straightaway on the circuit once again. And then you come to this corner, it's like a 110, 120 degree right-hander. It's a good overtaking zone in something like an F1 car where you have plenty of DRS and ERS shenanigans, but in a full-body car with limited amounts of downforce, you can't really get side-by-side into that corner because someone's going to be off the ideal racing line. Stravosky not really having a good time maximizing his run through the final chicane either. So he is still close enough to Marmol to watch him, but not really close enough to do anything. And your top four are all actually starting to close down just a little bit. Cosmic continues to pull away. Well, he's slowly pulling away from Shredder in second, but Carnivore and Maverick in third and fourth are closing the gap down between themselves and the top two as well right now. So Cosmic, Shredder, Carnivore, and Maverick all in a relatively good position with each other right now. AFMG Land, again, fighting a hangover, fighting a lack of sleep. Still hanging on in fifth position pretty solidly here in that 101 machine. Guess running a little bit ahead of Floppy Disk Hero right now. And then you have here Sergeant Stravosky and Marmol. Marmol still runs behind Stravosky, but is having trouble actually catching him and nipping his way by him. And it does look like Midnight Dash and Mullet on the verge of having a little battle of their own at the head of this field now. Dash had a bit of a slide. Down the old start-finish straightaway. Now through the bridge. Mullet closing down on Midnight, but hasn't been able to do anything yet. And the spread in the field has become very big, very fast. I would not be surprised if we see a third or more of the field going a lap down by the time this stint is over. But again, this isn't Enduro. A big thing is you need to minimize distance penalties. And Marmol is pitting. Marmol is pitting very early in the event. What is the reasoning for this? I don't see any damage. The fuel level is down to 9%. He's only at 13% tire wear, but 9%. And Marmol is pitting very early in the event now. Real quickly, let's go ahead and take a look at our top 5's fuel and tire wear. Cosmic is at 26% in the fuel tank, 13% tire wear. SRD Shredder runs in second position. He is at 15% tire wear, 47% in the fuel tank. So Shredder has the fuel to go for a while. Carnivore in third right now has 15% in the fuel tank, 24% tire wear. 15% tire wear, 24% in the fuel tank. Maverick, who runs in fourth at the moment, 15% tire wear, 37% in the fuel tank still. And then Lan, who hangs out in fifth position, he is at 15% tire wear, 27% in the fuel tank right now. So Cosmic leads by a respectable margin, but his fuel levels are at 24% as he is trying to gap away from SRD Shredder. I should say trying. He is slowly gapping away from SRD Shredder, who is doing a little bit worse on tire wear, but Shredder has more fuel, planning to go a lot longer. It looks like Mullet has nutted his way by Midnight Dash down the straightaway. Now Dash goes deep in, side by side between these two. But it does look like the Ferrari has the better line, and Midnight slides a bit on exit. A lot of power in these modern GT1 reg cars. And Midnight has the draft on Mullet, but the draft is one thing. You need to figure out a way to properly get alongside. That lightning dust car pulls up behind Mullet just before Baggets and Beckets. Again, the draft is great at getting you behind somebody, but it's so hard to get alongside where you don't want to be off the ideal lane. Midnight Dash has to figure out a way to shock Mullet here, but the big thing to help Midnight, he has no distance penalties yet. Mullet already has 22 thousandths of a distance penalty at this stage of the event. Our top four have all kind of stabilized their gaps. Cosmic very slowly trying to pull away from Shredder. But while that is happening, Carnivore and Maverick have slowly been closing down the gaps between them two and Cosmic at the head of the field. Maverick has distance penalty. Carnivore has none. Shredder has distance penalty, the most of everyone thus far. And Cosmic has a small amount of distance penalties as well. Riding on board with Midnight as they come out of the final corner. You can hear him really struggling to get the tire spun up on the corner exit there as they come down the start-finish straightaway. And it does look like Bullet is going to start pulling away from Midnight at this stage of the event. In fact, I would argue that the top four have all now really stabilized. Cosmic, now that he has broken the draft on Shredder, is just slowly, bit by bit, inching away from Shredder at this stage of the race. The closest thing we have to a battle right now is this here between Mullet and Dash, but even there, Dash seems to be gradually falling off a bit as the handling of the car is going away, slowly yet surely. And Mr. Marmo, who's already made his first stop, is already starting to close down on this duo of Midnight and Mullet here. Yeah, it does seem like Mullet has pretty much dissolved the battle by just pulling away well enough. And Floppy Disk Hero now jumping into the pits. About 18 minutes into the run. What is the reasoning here? Well, he's only got 8% left in the fuel tank, 17% on the tires. So Floppy Disk Hero seems to be another driver who elected to put a lot less fuel in than what we would anticipate. Cosmic is your leader. He is at 17% wear, but he's at 15% in the fuel tank. I look at Shredder, who has second place, 19% wear on the tires, 33% in the fuel tank. So I think Shredder is planning to go really long, stay out as long as he can, and minimize the number of pit stops he'll have to make over the course of the run today. Cosmic doesn't seem to be focused on that. Cosmic has also gotten another penalty, bumping up to 35 thousandths of a mile. Still less than Shredder in second here. Carnivore runs in third, but just behind him, you can see AFZ Maverick is really starting to come to life as this run is going longer and longer as he is looking ahead at Primo Carnivore and slowly closing that gap down. I look at the fuel level in this car, 27%. So yeah, Maverick likely going to be out here for a little bit longer. Carnivore, he is at 6%, so Carnivore will likely be pitting at the end of this circuit. So he'll be pitting after only about 20 minutes of running here. So the strategy is kind of all over the place. We know that in this game, there is a lot of extra speed to be gained running on a lower fuel load. So drivers like Cosmic and Maverick really benefit. Cosmic, Maverick, and Carnivore, especially right now, benefiting from having less fuel in their cars, lets them go a lot quicker mid-corner and on corner exit. But it also means that they will have to pit sooner and potentially more often. Here we are. Carnivore will be the first driver in the podium positions to jump into the pit lane. And after about 19 minutes of running, he's only at 21% tire wear right now. So he is doing a good job keeping his tire wear in check. But he's going to drop well down the order here. Something else I want to keep an eye on is going to be this man here, Mr. Marmol. As we ride on board with him, it looks like Lan and Stravoska are going to join Carnivore in the pits this time by. But this is Marmol. He's already made his first stop. He has now caught Midnight Dash. And just up the road is RP Mullet. So how aggressively is Marmol going to pursue these drivers here? And all three of them right on top of each other. And it looks like Midnight has had enough. He's going to jump into the pits after 20 minutes of running now. So a lot of drivers electing to run lighter fuel loads to try and maximize lap times earlier in the event. Really try to get ideal times here. Marmol, who's already made a pit stop early on, now trying to push forward. So he'll be ahead of Midnight, and the next driver he'll be focusing on will be Mullet here. Maverick now up into third position. And our top 3 all have distance penalties, but of them all, look at this. Marble just goes right by Mullet. Mullet just cannot seem to do anything to keep it on track, it feels like. No massive tire wear or anything. It just seems like maybe fatigue might be setting in for some of these drivers. And that's the other thing. These are very powerful, very strong cars. Driver fatigue is going to be something you'll have to keep an eye on throughout the run. Drivers who are really strong, really fast early on may find themselves dropping off in pace and speed later in the event just due to the constant wheeling and dealing of these machines. Especially keep an eye on SRD Shredder and Midnight Dash MLP as they are running all 6 stints solo throughout the run today. So Mullet's been passed by Marble, and now Marble will be looking at Sergeant Stravosky. Now, Stravosky had just made his first stop. He's put in 40% in the fuel tank, roughly, and already is going at it once more. After pitting, Midnight Dash has ended up still ahead of Tangled Ovixen. Those two have no distance penalties yet. But Marble is now going to be closing down on Stravosky, I'd imagine. As things have all calmed down just a little bit at this stage of the event. The field has gotten a little bit spread out. Not unbearably spread out, but a little bit spread out. And RP Mullet now making a pit stop farther back there. So he's paying what's basically 1 lap later than what Midnight Dash did. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. Is the undercut the way to go? Is it going to be the overcut? Again, Dash has seemed to be struggling a bit with the power application from the rear tires. Again, all these cars are rear-wheel drive in this setting, and it looks like Tangled Vixen is also going to be paying out of the 13th spot. So Dash now coming down to the final corner, but it looks like Mullet is already out of his pit box and accelerating down to pit exit. I think Mullet is actually going to be able to pull a significant gap on Dash, potentially. Here we go, down to the pit exit. Oh no, it looks like the undercut was the way to go. Dash is now right on side Mullet, and they had about a 3-car length advantage in Mullet's favor, but now Dash is right behind Mullet all over again. And Cosmic is pitting out of the lead. So Cosmic has gone about 23 minutes of running. His fuel is down to nothing pretty much. 22% wear on the tires. And this will hand the lead back over to SRD Shredder now, who still has 14% in the fuel tank. His tire wear is at 25%. So again, a lot of the drivers not really willing to push the runs really deep. They want to focus on not letting the tires get too bad here. There are a lot of them are really underfilling and pitting much earlier than anticipated. So Shredder now moves up into the lead, but he has more distance penalty than anyone else. Second place is AFZ Maverick in the number 22 here. He is at 14% still in the fuel tank. Just for comparison, Shredder, who is leading, still has 12% in the fuel tank. So I imagine Shredder and Maverick will be paying at roughly the same point at the stage of the event. Mullet looks like he is making a stop now. Is this his first stop or second stop? No, this would be his second stop, I think. So right now, the only drivers who have not made a stop is Predator, who runs in 5th, and then Shredder and Maverick, who are at the head of the field right now. These 3 drivers all started with a heavier fuel load and are trying to go deep into the run right now. Maybe cut out pit stops later on, while other drivers are going more for lap times, willing to pit a little bit more often to ensure that they have less fuel in the car and can go a lot more aggressively on the circuit here. Field has gotten plenty spread out now, with the exception of a battle or a stalking battle between Mullet and Dash. But they were in this position earlier, and we saw that Mullet was scooting away, and I think the same thing is starting to play out once again here as well. And big thing as well is for SRD Shredder. He is now closing down on lap traffic in the form of Tangled Ovixen. So about 25 minutes into the run, we're going to spend a lap on board with Shredder's Mercedes AMG 1. And we'll send you, get you on board for a full flying lap here around Silverstone. These modern GT1 regs will be back shortly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Silverstone. Maverick is staying out for one extra lap, so he is now going to inherit the lead. He'll be our third different driver to lead in the event, and he is going to do so by virtue of having not yet stopped, as Shredder is pitted out of the lead after about 27 minutes of racing. Maverick now goes to the lead. The big question, of course, is going to be Shredder versus Cosmic. Cosmic had pulled a pretty solid gap on Shredder before making his stop, and Cosmic pitted about 2 laps earlier than Shredder. And that gap is going to massively open up in Cosmic's favor. So Cosmic now running in near completely clean air, completely gone from Shredder. So yes, Shredder went really nice and deep into the run, but unless Cosmic has to make an entire extra stop compared to Shredder, I think Cosmic is going to be able to walk up with the stint win, barring some sort of misfortune on his end. But with how spread out the field has become already, I think that kind of misfortune is unlikely unless there ends up being disconnects through the run. All 13 of our starters still running on the circuit right now. Just to put things in perspective, changes since the start of the event. Maverick leads right now, but he is leading off strategy. He is the only driver on track who has not yet changed. Tangled Vixen had a big slide earlier in the event and fell well off the pace. He has gone back to last place and is a lap down. Driver with the most positions gained right now, Sergeant Straboski, has gone from second to last up to 7th at the moment. Driver who's had the most positions lost, obviously I talked about Tangled Vixen. Reminder, Maverick still has yet to make what will be his first stop. Once he makes a stop, we anticipate that he will fall back to the 4th position, and the top 4 will be back to where they were at the start of the run here. But this is Maverick, as we are looking at him right now, anticipating that he will be stopping this lap. And yes, sure enough, he is stopping this lap. He has gone about 28 minutes, roughly, before making his stop. So if you can go 28 minutes, that means that this race is potentially a 3-stopper for Maverick. Again, you're not doing the full 2 hours. You're only doing an hour and 45 minutes. You do the math, 28 plus 28 plus 28. That is 90 minutes. Take away 6. That's 84 minutes right there. If after that 3rd stop, you just stay out for another 20 minutes, that takes you to 104, 105 minutes. Yeah, so Maverick is set up to make this a 3-stop affair as it is right now. Cosmic paying a lot closer, only 20 minutes in. He's looking at something closer to a 4-stop affair. Shredder is kind of the wild card in second. We don't really know if he's going to be on a 3-stop or a 4-stop affair through the rest of this run here. But Maverick looks like he is on track for a 3-stop affair. And interestingly enough here, oh, the word is a mandatory 5-stop. Okay, well, never mind in that case. If it's a mandatory 5-stop, that kills most of the strat. Well, it doesn't kill the strategy. It reorients the strategy as to when do you want to stop. If you're required to stop 5 times over the event, you do the math in a 105-minute run. You take 6 into 105. This 6 goes into 105. 1's drop to 4. 6 goes into 45. 7. If you pit once every 17 and a half minutes or once every 18 minutes, you would be good. So yeah, drivers who are pitting once every 17 to 18 minutes have the traditional strategy of just equidistancing all of their stints and not really worrying too much about tire fall off or anything. But that puts a lot more explanation as to why some drivers were pitting so early. It had nothing to do with tire fall off, although I'm sure it helps. It seems like it had a lot more to do with just splitting the event into nice equal distances. So Cosmic leads by a massive margin over Shredder. And then Shredder has a significant gap over Maverick in 3rd. Primo Carnivore runs in 4th. He is the highest of everyone who has no distance penalties right now. Maverick runs in 3rd. But Carnivore, interestingly enough, I would say, is going to be in a position where if he can keep his distance penalties low, he might be able to jump Maverick on distance penalties by the end of the run here. No one has hit a 1/10 of a mile of distance penalties yet, though, after getting about a quarter of the way through this first stint here at Silverstone. Again, at this point, only one driver is a lap down. That is Tangled Vixen, who has just been plummeting through the field. Just does not seem to have any capability in that car right now. I'm not sure if it's a disagreement with the tune, if there was just unprepared for what it was. But whatever the case is, Vixen is having an absolutely atrocious time of it right now. Carnivore can see Maverick ahead, but has not been able to really do anything to him as this is going on. field has gotten plenty spread out now, and everything has really calmed down at this stage of the event. Again, the drivers with the most distance penalties right now is Cosmic and Shredder, first and second on circuit. But even then, it's not really a whole lot that upends and randomizes the way this race is going, it seems. Marmol has now gotten by Apex Predator. But reminder, Marmol pitted way earlier than everyone else. I think he only pitted like 12 minutes into the run, if I remember correctly. Tangled Vixen has already made his second stop, so I wonder if he was involved in some sort of single car incident that we've missed, warranting that early stop. But I look at Marmol and I have to wonder, he pitted early for that first stop. How long will he stay out here until the second? He's got a lot of fuel in the tank still, only 18% wear on the tires. So he has the tire and the fuels to go a little bit longer, and he has been doing a good job fighting his way up through the grid right now. Again, changes since the start. Maverick, by virtue of staying out for so much longer, has actually gotten ahead of Carnivore and has actually gapped Carnivore a bit now. But Maverick, well, I do say a bit, and you see right there that gap. It is enough that Carnivore is not directly pressuring Maverick, but it is a bit. All it would take would be a bit of fatigue, a little bit of driver mistake, and Carnivore would get right by Maverick. And again, Carnivore has no distance penalties when we last checked. So now that Marmol is catching Sergeant Stravosky, how long will it take him to try and get alongside Stravosky here? Through turn one, is he right on board with Marmol? Again, Silverstone, a very high speed, very aerodynamically focused, and downforce focused circuit. And these cars do not have a lot of downforce, despite how big their wings look. And that's a big slide off the line for Stravosky, and Marmol's not even gonna have to worry about it. Stravosky choked under pressure, and Marmol goes right by with no issue. So Stravosky really felt the pressure and just gave the position up, and a little bit of engine damage in Stravosky's car is not gonna help him either. So Marmol now moves up into the 7th position. Stravosky slips back to 8th now. Gap opens up now massively in Marmol's favor as Marmol starts running away from Stravosky with no issue. No changes in the top 4, but Primo Carnivore continues to hang out in Maverick's rear view mirror, but not yet close enough to really make any fights of it. In the same way, Marmol has now gotten by Stravosky and is already gapping him and pulling away from him by a significant amount. That engine damage is not helping Stravosky right now. And here comes Floppy Disk Hero. Looks like he'll be the first driver to make his second stop out of the 5 mandatory stops, paying out 6th position here. Real quickly, looking at the fuel and tire levels of our top 4, our leader, NDL Cosmic, 23% in the fuel tank, 12% tire wear right now. Shredder, who runs in 2nd, he is at 9% tire wear. He has a little bit of engine damage, not much, and 48% in the fuel tank. And you see that, and you have to wonder, are some of these drivers running heavier fuel loads to try and get some extra stability in the rear of the car? I'll talk a little bit more about that later. This is Maverick, who runs in 3rd. Right now, 7% tire wear, 42% in the fuel tank. But he pitted later than Primo Carnivore, who is down to just 11% in the fuel tank, 18% tire wear right now. So the big reason I bring that up, some drivers find that they like having the extra weight over the rear axle of the car. They feel it gives them more predictability and more stability. Shredder may be one of these drivers who feels that not only does he need maximum downforce in the rear of the car, he may need more fuel over the rear axle just so the car stays more stable in the rear through the corners and it sets down a little bit better. Now, the thing is, that gives you stability, but that comes at the cost of lap time. It's going to make you much slower on corner exit and mid-corner, and Primo Carnivore now pitting out of the 4th position. He was just about to catch Maverick, but he pits. So Carnivore and Maverick on radically different pit stop strategies right now. Right now, 6 drivers have not earned distance penalties yet. Those are Carnivore, Stravosky, Predator, Floppy Disk Hero, Midnight Dash, and Tangled Oven, or Ovixen. And the field is very spread out. Now there is no one really on top of each other at all. And Carnivore's gap over 5th place AFMG Lan is going to be big enough that Lan, who's in 5th, is not even going to come close to seeing Carnivore once this is over. Big slide there with Lan. You can really tell he's hustling. And Stravosky is now pitting farther back there, so he'll finally get a chance to repair that engine damage and maybe find a little bit more pace as the event goes on here. So our top 4 all running in clean air. It seems like they are pretty much in the zone of their own. And amongst these 4, they're all on slightly different strategies and all seem to have slightly different paces. Cosmic, I think, is going to be the near default winner here of Stint 1. They have caught a little bit of lap traffic technically in the form of Tangled of Vixen as Midnight Dash now pits out 12th. But I don't think that traffic is really going to hold these drivers up too much. This series does have blue flag rules. Do keep that in mind. And Silverstone is more than wide enough for lap traffic to move offline to let lead lap traffic go by. Still, it has been a very competitive event throughout the run today. We have 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 positions. We started with 5 different manufacturers qualifying in the top 5, and 4 different manufacturers run the top 4 positions right now. So it's been very competitive, at least in placement on the field, but we're not really seeing a whole lot when it comes to actual on-track fighting. Everyone is so focused on their own strategy and just trying to min-max their own hot laps that everyone's really gotten spread out at this stage of the event. Shredder now dealing with a little bit of traffic here in the form of Midnight. These 2 are the drivers, Midnight and Shredder, who are trying to Ironman this run. All 6 stints solo. Shredder gets by Midnight without too much issue there. Cosmic didn't have to worry about that as Cosmic went by him while Midnight was in the pits. And Lan and Marmal now both pitting after about 39 minutes of running. That would be their second stop for both of them. Maverick runs well ahead of Carnivore, but that is mainly because Carnivore has already made his second stop. And now that Marmal is making his second stop, he has been making a lot of moves, moving up a lot of positions. He's going to be dealing potentially with Sergeant Stravosky here, who is rushing down the start-finish straightaway right now. Here comes Marmal out of pit lane. No pit lane exit line. The rules were just be respectful and be smart coming out of the pits. It looks like Marmal is going to hold station over Sergeant Stravosky after making his pit stop. So that overtake we saw earlier looks like it is sticking. Mullet is just ahead of we have 2 Mullets. Mullet 56 is just ahead of RP Mullet right now as they are trying to navigate their way around Tangled Vixen, who continues to run very slow off the pace at the moment. He's got fuel, he's got tires. It just seems like he has really backed his pace down. He's just struggling to keep control of the car right now. A rough time for this number 100 machine. We've not really seen a lot more distance penalties either at this stage of the event. So I think everyone is really done with pushing lap times. As this is AFMG Lan, who is running just behind Apex Predator as they come out of Maggots and Beckett's this time onto the longest straightaway as Lan close enough to get the draft on Predator. Again, mind you, Lan has already made his second stop. Predator has yet to make his second stop, though. So Lan's got fresher tires, but a heavier fuel load. Predator has more worn tires, but a lighter fuel load. Again, fresher tires gives you a lot more ability going into the corner and mid-corner. Lighter fuel load gives you a lot more ability on corner exit and, to a lesser extent, in mid-corner. So you'll likely see Predator pulling on corner exit, but Lan closing on corner entry. And the draft will also help Lan close down on corner entry as well. RP Mullet now pinning farther back there. So he'll likely go, at least briefly, a lap down to Cosmic here. onto this Sector 1 straightaway. You can see, oh, Cosmic is pitting now. After about 42 minutes of running, Cosmic pits. And here comes the move. Land dives to the inside of Predator. Predator's trying to hold it around the outside, nearly door-to-door contact. He's still on the inside. Big sweeping hairpin here. And it looks like for the moment, Predator has the ideal line and will stay ahead of Land just a bit longer. That is Floppy Disk Hero a little bit farther back. Looking at this duo, but not close enough to do anything yet. Lamb pulls up right behind Predator, backs out a bit here in Bridge, and now down to Maggots and Beckett's. Just about nose to tail. Inverse Arrow Wash is going to hurt Predator, but Land is going to be getting the draft. He's going to be dragged into these corners faster than what he wants. And because of that, both of them are going to find their lines compromised. Even if they're not side by side, they're both going to find their lines and times compromised here, being so close to each other. Onto the longest straightaway. Again, Land has this fantastic straight line speed, is going to be able to pull right on to Predator. And will close even more under braking with those fresher tires. And now Predator says he's had enough. He ducks it into the pits this time by. So Cosmic has gone ahead and jumped into the pit lane. And he has now ended up behind Midnight Dasher. This is traffic that he did not have to deal with earlier, but now he is really struggling with traffic in the form of Midnight. So how aggressive is Midnight going to defend? Is he even going to try and defend, or is Midnight going to run wide in one of these corners and let Cosmic go by? Oh, there's a little bit of contact, and Cosmic's around! Your race leader, the dominant car, Cosmic, your pole center, makes contact with lap traffic from Midnight, and Midnight has a big spin! He's gonna lose a huge chunk of time in the process! Suddenly, the race comes alive for Shredder, Maverick, and Carnivore! Big news, though, for Cosmic, and I imagine he'll probably try and form some sort of complaint against Midnight post-stint for that contact. But Cosmic, it doesn't look like he's lost a terrible amount of time. He still is well clear of Carnivore, who has also already made his second stop. But this could be great news for Maverick and Shredder. Shredder staying out a little bit longer right now. Real quickly, looking at the penalties. Cosmic still at 0.54 miles. Shredder now up to 0.95 miles. Still no penalties for Midnight Dash despite that contact, though. It looked to me like Dash tried to go on the outside line to let Cosmic go, but Cosmic's racing line naturally took him there. I don't think he realized that Dash still had speed, and here's a big problem for Cosmic. He still has not actually cleared Midnight yet. It's not like Midnight, at least from my perspective, it didn't look like Midnight took a ridiculously aggressive defense line. He just took a slightly wider line and hoped that would be enough, and it was nowhere near enough for Cosmic. And now Cosmic is going to have to try and figure out a way by Midnight again now. So this struggle is not over for him yet. Still, Cosmic does have, while he does have the second amount of distance penalties thus far, his biggest rival on track, Shredder, has nearly twice the distance penalty as Cosmic at the moment. So Cosmic still may have an advantage, not to mention Cosmic has seemed to have some sort of advantage when it comes to pace. Cosmic closing back down on Midnight. He's going to catch him a little bit earlier in the lap this time. So if Midnight tries to move over and let Cosmic through here, oh, and Cosmic drops the tire into the dirt. This is really going to compromise his exit run there in the Pagani. Closing down on Midnight. This is where they made contact. Last lap. You don't normally want to be side by side through here or even on the exit. Cosmic still isn't by Midnight. Midnight now takes an aggressive inside line, but Cosmic pulls up behind. Not going to be alongside to Maggots and Beckett's. He is! He goes deep! Really deep! Midnight backs way out. Cosmic is all sorts of sideways trying to get the car back under control. But he is completely by Midnight now. Shredder was held up by Midnight for a little bit, but that was nothing compared to the issue that Cosmic has had dealing with traffic now. Also, Maverick, who is currently second, now has 0.56 mile distance penalty, so he now has more distance penalties than Cosmic. So yes, Cosmic has had that big spin, but I don't think it's over yet for him. We're going to spin a lap on board with NDL Cosmic here at Silverstone. When we come back, we'll likely see our leader right now, Shredder, make a pit. We'll be back momentarily here at Silverstone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Silverstone. We are looking at Indy Cosmic as he clears Shredder despite the big spin. Well, I say big spin, despite the spin that... Oh, and now Cosmic is behind more traffic. Was that Ovixen there? I think he's caught behind Ovixen. He is. Cosmic ever so briefly caught behind Ovixen again. So traffic really causing problems for Cosmic, but it doesn't matter. Despite the spin that he had after contact with Midnight earlier, Cosmic is still well clear of SRD Shredder at this stage of the event. So even with Chaos throwing stuff at Cosmic, he is still the fastest and best driver on track, and it's not even close. Cosmic looking like he's going to walk away with this Stint 1 win in the Brabham. Shredder Rain in second in the Mercedes has more distance penalty, has to manage his own pace, because again, he's trying to do all these stints, and he just does not seem to have the tire life or the pace to match Cosmic. So Shredder has had some good things go his way, but it's not really been enough to let him clear Cosmic. You see Ovixen pull to the inside before Bridgen lets Shredder by without issue. Maverick leads right now, but he is leading off strategy. He has been the last of our top four to pit every single time, and someone has had an issue there in the coming out of Maggots and Beckett. Says RP Mullet. No damage, but I saw a lot of tire smoke, and he looked very sideways just before the longest straightaway here. So he is, for the moment, a lap down. Now, granted, once Maverick picks, he'll unlap himself, but he'll go back to being a lap down shortly afterwards. So Midnight and Tango Vixen are the two drivers a lap down at this stage of the event after about 50 minutes of running. So almost halfway through this run today for Stint 1. And we will be covering Stints 2, 3, and 4 after this. Remember, Apex Predator runs a little bit behind Sergeant Stravosky here. And on pit stops, everyone except for Maverick Hurlier right now has made 2 stops. This is a 5-stop mandatory event. Predator trying to close down on Stravosky right now. Predator stopped a little bit later than Stravosky, mind you. So hoping that maybe that will work out in his favor here. We look at the distance penalties at the moment. Shredder in third overall has the most distance penalties, and it's not even close. Then Maverick and Cosmic, well, I'm sorry, yeah, second most distance penalties in Mullet, way back here in 11th with 65 thousandths of a mile. The third and fourth most are Maverick and Cosmic, first and second on track right now with .056 and .054 of a mile, respectively. And then after that, distance penalties become almost irrelevant. And we still have 5 drivers, Carnivore, Floppy Disk Hero, Stravosky, Predator, and Midnight Dash, all have no distance penalties at this stage of the event. Well, I got some bad news for Cosmic. He is about to deal with more lap traffic. Who is that? That is RP Mullet. And Maverick is pitting out of the lead now, so this should pretty easily give the lead back to Cosmic. But Shredder is a little bit closer to Cosmic after Cosmic had that spin after contact with lap traffic earlier. And Maverick, I'll be interested to see where he ends up in relation to Cosmic and Shredder. And right now, Cosmic now stuck behind RP Mullet. Has to figure out a way by him. So Mullet will briefly get back onto the lead lap as he overtakes Maverick, as Maverick is in the pits, but he'll immediately be under pressure to go a lap down again here. Bit of a slide. Oh my goodness, and that's Cosmic into the dirt. Big slide. He's sliding deep into the dirt and goes off circuit for the second time in 3 attempts. He has been held up badly by traffic. He is still behind, and now Shredder is way closer than he was before. And still Cosmic hasn't got by the traffic. Finally, he clears traffic. Shredder gets into Mullet and just muscles his way by, and suddenly Shredder and Cosmic are on the same straightaway all over again. So Cosmic may be the fastest guy on track, but he is really struggling with traffic, and Shredder is not having anything close to that. Shredder is now back almost within the draft of Cosmic again, about halfway through Stint 1. Cosmic has got to be feeling so relieved that he is not doing all 12 stints solo, because he is going to be exhausted just after 2 hours. Now, this time at least, Cosmic didn't spin out of control, didn't go for a complete 360, but it was a big slide, lost a lot of time. One thing that really impresses me, despite spending so much time off track there, Cosmic did not get any distance penalties for any of that. Nothing for cutting or anything, so that really helps Cosmic out. Good job on not just car control, but understanding the game's penalty system well enough to not get penalized for an off-track excursion. Again, this game likes to be a little bit schizophrenic sometimes with its penalties and will sometimes penalize people. I say sometimes, a lot of the time likes to penalize people even when they have a off-track slide that costs them time. So Cosmic leads, and Shredder is now the closest he has been all day in second. Third place is Maverick, fourth place is Primo Carnivore, and their top four almost all close enough now where they can almost all see each other on the same longest straightaway on the circuit. But most notably, your top two, only about a second and a half, but maybe less than a second and a half. I think Shredder may be just close enough to Cosmic to actually have draft on Cosmic again. Now again, Shredder was in this position against Cosmic earlier in the run, mind you. But in that case, Cosmic just kind of slowly pulled away and slowly broke the gap on Shredder. But Cosmic is not invincible. He's very, very adept, but he is not invincible, as he has had a spin dealing with traffic once and a big slide off circuit after dealing with traffic later. And that's put him back under pressure from Shredder. And just to add insult to injury, it's not like it's clean track ahead. They will be catching Mullet 56 and Sergeant Strabowski likely in a few laps' time based on the pace that they are going. And here's the other thing about lap traffic. It is Cosmic into the dirt! Cosmic gets a tire into the dirt and runs wide, coming on to the old start-finish straightaway. Shredder's got a fantastic draft. He's going to be even closer than where he was before. Shredder's been pitting later than Cosmic as well, mind you, so Shredder right now may have more worn tires, but he's going to have less fuel in the tank, so that should give, well, yeah, Shredder will have better tires, but more fuel in the tank, so Shredder should be a little bit faster on corner entry, which could end up further helping Shredder in these draft straightaways. Now, Alan Maggots and Beckett's. Is Shredder close enough to get a draft on Cosmic? That's really the big question. Because if he's close enough to get a drop on Cosmic, Cosmic will also be dealing with that reverse arrow wash, which will further be hamstringing him. Doesn't look like... it's so hard to tell, honestly. Again, you typically about the 7/10 to 8/10 of a second gap is where it is. Shredder goes really deep into the final chicane. But that's going to really compromise his exit, and that will work out well in Cosmic's favor here. Looks like Cosmic will now start to be able to scoot away from Shredder just a bit this time. Now, the big thing, of course, for the NDL team, I don't think they anticipated to really show up in this race and have any serious competition. The HYR guys did not show up with any dedicated teams this time around, so NDL likely came into this event thinking that they were going to be able to walk the event with no serious team-organized competition, and Shredder, who is in a solo effort, is putting on a good fight against Cosmic here. And I don't know if the other NDL drivers later in the event will be ready for dealing with proper conflict. I'm not saying that they're going to crack under pressure and fall apart and dissolve. We're very obviously seeing that's not the case. Despite the issues that Cosmic has had, he is still leading with a little less than an hour left, a little less than 50 minutes left in the event. But still, Cosmic may be handling this well. Will his teammates be able to handle it well also? That is the big question. Mr. Marmol pinning farther back there. So that will be the start of the third round of pit stops for the field now. And slowly, these top two of Cosmic and Shredder are going to be catching lap traffic in the form of Mullet56 and Sergeant Strabowski. Might end up catching Marmol as well, honestly, depending on where Marmol ends up in relation to them after pit stops. Maverick has pulled a gap on Carnivore, but Carnivore has no distance penalties right now. Again, Shredder misses the turn-in point coming into that chicane, it seems. He's going really deep. He's more focused on just being smooth than he is trying to maximize the lap time. And with that, now doing that 2 laps in a row, Cosmic has now broken the draft on Shredder again and will likely start scooting away once more. But traffic has been the real wild card. And Carnivore is pitting now 3rd position. So he has been the one paying the earliest out of our top 4 throughout the run. Credit where credit is due, AFMG Lamb, while he doesn't have anything close to the pace of our top 4, he is drunk, not drunk, he is hungover, not slept properly, and is running top 5 on merit thus far. So great job on his part. Top 4 does not look like it's in the cards for him, but he has done a good job holding on to the top 5. Then you have Apex Predator, who is fighting once again with Floppy Disk Hero. Predator has seemed to be fighting with someone almost all day long, basically after the first round of pit stops, it feels like. Now he has caught Floppy Disk Hero, was fighting with Strabowski earlier. Cosmic closing in on traffic. We'll keep an eye on that, because that has been Cosmic's biggest Achilles heel, dealing with traffic. That looks like Predator is going to pit, so that will end that fight. So now our focus goes to Cosmic as they go through Maggots and Beckett's, and they can see traffic ahead. That will be Mullet56. That is Sergeant Strabowski going by, and then you'll see Mullet, and right behind him will be Cosmic. Shredder a little bit farther back right now. And coming down to the final chicane will be one of the worst parts. I mean, there are a lot of bad parts on tracks, but it would be one of the worst parts to catch them. Not going to be an issue. Mullet56 pits before Cosmic has to deal with them. So that should be traffic that neither Cosmic or Shredder will have to deal with for the rest of the run. And Shredder is going to be the first driver to eclipse a 1/10 mile distance penalty. So yeah, Shredder now has more than twice the distance penalties of Cosmic. So while Shredder is keeping Cosmic honest, it does not seem like Shredder is comfortable enough with the track limits or his car to really deliver a proper fight to Cosmic over the course of this today. At least over the course of the first stint. And again, this is only the first stint where everyone is still relatively fresh. And with Shredder committing to running all 6 stints solo, it'll be really, really concerning to see how much worse this pace is going to be in the later stints of the day today. So Apex Predator, after making a stop, has ended up just ahead of Sergeant Strabowski. And mind you, that will be Cosmic and Shredder a little bit farther behind, but I imagine that Cosmic is going to be making his next stop sooner rather than later here. It's less than 6% in the fuel tank. Yeah, Cosmic will surely be pitting at the end of this lap. Shredder farther back there in second will likely stay out a little bit longer, but the big thing, of course, is that distance penalties are not working in Shredder's favor at all. He's going to have to worry about being clipped by the likes of Maverick or Carnivore at the rate that this has been going. Carnivore especially, who is the highest of all drivers with no distance penalties right now. So Cosmic's not going to catch this traffic yet, and Strabowski and Predator are going to be fighting without too much pressure for the moment, at least. That is the Apollo hypercar that Apex Predator is in right now. And yes, Cosmic pits this time as we anticipated. It says 58 minutes and 45 seconds left, but remember, we're racing until that clock says 15 minutes to go. So he's pitting with about 43 minutes left in the event, in this stint 1. Again, a lot of draft, a lot of top-end speed in these cars, because the cars don't have a lot of downforce in them. And they have lots of power, which gives you lots of speed, but it makes it very hard to get properly side by side with cars. Especially on a very technical circuit like Silverstone. Stravosky has the run on Predator. They go down the old start-finish line again. And Predator continues to hold station over Stravosky for the moment. Into Maggots and Beckett's. That is your current leader, SRD Shredder, in the background there. Now in a position that he can just try and click off some clean laps by himself. And we'll see this fight here for what is currently 8th. Floppy Disk Hero now gets a time penalty for the first time today. Stravosky right behind Predator. Does he try and go for a move? He looks to the outside, side by side to the final chicane. And Predator goes deep on defense. Slides himself wide, and Stravosky is right there. He's gonna look wide, try to cut in on the exit of the final corner. Can't get alongside yet, but he's gotta run. Here he is, gets a big run coming down to turn 1. Does he look to the inside? No, he backs out early. Does not want to be side by side in turn 1. Still just about nose to tail to turn 2. Now they dive down into turn number 3. This time by Predator holds station over Stravosky. And Predator will stay ahead of Stravosky for just a little bit longer now. Predator wide. Stravosky has a tighter inside line, but the tighter lines are really hard to make work on these high-powered cars. It's so hard to get the power down smoothly. Stravosky has another great draft on Predator. Predator puts half of a block. Stravosky goes to the inside. Stravosky inside. Predator outside. Deep in the corner. Stravosky goes deep. Way too deep. Predator's going to cross him over on exit, and Predator clears Stravosky. Not yet, though. There's a little bit of contact, though. But Predator does finally clear Stravosky. And Predator back in front of Stravosky once again. All the while, SRD Shredder is farther back, slowly closing in on this battle. But as these two are fighting, it means that once they make their stops, it makes it completely unlikely that NDL Cosmic is actually going to have to deal with them again. It's likely that Cosmic will be well clear of them and will not have to deal with them as traffic once again as the event goes on. Stravosky still runs behind Predator here. As we ride on board, Stravosky looking ahead at Predator. Again, giant draft. The speed that you get in a straight line is incredible in these cars, especially when they aid with the draft. But it looks like for the moment, Predator still has them. Shockingly, both these Shredder is now going to pit out of the lead farther back there. Shockingly, both these drivers, despite fighting, Predator has been fighting with someone basically all day long. They have no distance penalties at this stage of the race somehow. Stravosky getting another fantastic draft. Look at how much he closes in before turn number 1. But he has to back out early so the car doesn't spin off line. You see these two go down through this hairpin, or it's kind of like a hairpin chicane. It's really hard to describe some of these corners here on this modern Silverstone layout. But yeah, it looks like now Stravosky has fallen off from Predator just a little bit after missing turn 1 and really compromising his run through turns 2 and 3 afterwards. So we're going to be I'm going to be really interested to see. The gap between Cosmic and Shredder is still in Cosmic's favor, but he did not pull on Shredder as much as I thought he would. The gap is there, and he has opened it, but Cosmic hasn't absolutely destroyed Shredder like I thought he would. But still, Cosmic on track to a stint win, but while he has led almost the entire stint, it has not been an easy walk-off stint win for Cosmic here. Checking Maverick, who is your leader right now. Still has plenty of fuel left. A little bit of engine damage, which is suboptimal. This duo continues to go at it here of Predator and Stravosky. But I do think for the moment this has pretty much calmed down. I think. Yep, here comes Stravosky in the pit, so that will bring a close to that. So this is your leader right now, AFZ Maverick. He has been the last of our top 4 to pit on each and every pit stop cycle. We're going to take a Twitch-mandated ad break, and while we do, we'll spend a flying lap on board with Maverick. We'll be back momentarily here at Silverstone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Silverstone. That is Apex Predator going by there. He is the last of everyone who is still on the lead lap right now. AFZ Maverick is your leader at the moment on an alternate strategy right now. Second place is Indiel Cosmic going by the screen right there. Third place, now entering the frame, is SRD Shredder, whose pace has been gradually dribbling away as the event has gone on, but it does look like he may still have enough for a second place result. Maverick only leads right now by virtue of pulling off his pit stops as late as possible, time after time. What looked like had been kind of a 4-car battle has kind of dissolved into a 3-car fight, and even then, really just a 2-car stalking battle as Primo Carnivore, while he has done a good job keeping his runs clean all day long, he has lost touch with Maverick, lost touch with Cosmic, lost touch with Shredder as this has gone on. So it seems like Carnival is going to have to settle with a 4th place result, although with the scratches on the windscreen, that makes me think that Carnivore may have been involved in some sort of incident, may have hit somebody or hit something hard enough to really upset him, and that may be one of the reasons why he is running so much slower and so much farther behind than where his pace earlier suggested. Cosmic runs in second. He started on the pole, but did not lead out of the first 3 corners. It was Shredder who actually took the lead and led for about the first 3 minutes. The first 3 laps before Cosmic finally got by Shredder. Was slowly opening the gap, and to be fair, he has led most of the time since then, but he's had instances with traffic while dealing with Midnight Dash for the first time. He got into Midnight, coming out of bridge, had a big 360 spin, did not hit anything, but lost probably a good 6-7 seconds in the process before finally powering by and getting by Midnight. Then a little bit later, when dealing with, I believe it was RP Mullet 7, going into turn number 3, I wasn't sure if he made contact, but he completely had a sim twitch moment and slid off the circuit big time, lost a huge chunk of time in the process. From all of that, it actually brought Shredder back into the fray for second briefly, but since then, Cosmic's race has calmed down significantly now. He is starting to be able to clear traffic a little bit smoother, and with that, he is pulling away from Shredder. Shredder, who is running in third right now, second in the overall race when it comes down to pit stop strategies applied and everything. He's been fine, but Shredder has multiple things working against him. One, he has been doing the worst off when it comes to distance penalties throughout the day today. 2, He is not very good with tire wear, although it does not seem like that has been a massive detriment for him in today's event. 3, he is trying to Ironman the entire event. So while he looks fast and capable now, will he still be fast and capable in Stint 4, Stint 5, Stint 6, once the exhaustion really starts setting in for him today? And then AFZ Maverick leads right now, but is off strategy. He has been delaying his pit stops as late as possible throughout the run today. He is the only driver who has yet to make his 3rd stop. Mind you, this is a mandatory 5-stop event tonight. Or I say tonight, it's still early in the day for me. It's a mandatory 5-stop event today, and Maverick has yet to make that 5th stop. I mean, everyone has yet to make the 5th stop, but Maverick hasn't even done his 3rd stop yet. Predator back there in 7th is just now making his 4th. And now here we are, Maverick jumping into the pit, so this will easily hand the lead back over to Cosmic. Of course, the question is, where's Maverick going to be in relation to Primo Carnivore? Well, Carnivore is only now coming out of Maggots and Beckett's and onto the longest straightaway on the circuit. And Shredder looks like he is pitting this time by as well. So Shredder pitting at the same time as Maverick. Not a lot of tire wear, and still plenty of fuel in the tank. A little bit of transmission damage, but Shredder making the stop a lot earlier, so Shredder will only have one more stop left with about 32 minutes left. I imagine Shredder is going to go for a pair of 15, 16-minute runs. He'll make the 15 or so minute run pit and then do that again. So Cosmic now inherits the lead, and Shredder is going to be nowhere near him. Interestingly, this also is going to put Shredder well behind Maverick and Carnivore, but he is now ahead of them when it comes to the pit stop strategy right now. So Shredder went very long on the first round of pit stops, so he's been going slightly shorter and shorter with every run since. And Cosmic now back to dealing with really no stress whatsoever, it would appear. Shredder has to deal with traffic of his own now. Dealing with that number 56 machine. That is Mullet 56, and he'll clear him without too much issue this time by. Cosmic leads again, but he is closing on traffic in the form of Tango Vixen once more. Vixen's just been having an awful time of it today. In that McLaren sent a big slide right there. That really goes to show just how much of a rough time it has been for Vixen all day today. He's not even going to try and take the line. He's just going to move way offline just so the leader, Cosmic, can go by without any issue. So half of the field has gone a lap down now. Floppy Disk Hero, who runs in 6th, is the first driver who is the last driver who is not a lap down at the moment. And Primo Carnivore now making the stop out of what is 3rd position now. They don't have a lot of fuel left in the tank, but their tires don't have a lot of wear either. Again, with Payne with a little bit less than 30 minutes left, I imagine he'll probably run out here. He'll pit, go for about 14 minutes, then pit again, go for another 14 minutes, and then the clock will be up. We're still waiting on both Cosmic and Maverick to make their last stops. And while we are basically all but guaranteed for Cosmic to walk off with the win here, and we think Shredder is going to be second on track, distance penalties are not going to help Shredder out at all. AFMG Land now paying out 5th position. He'll still have another stop to make, so everyone has made 4 of their mandated 5 stops. And I think outside of Cosmic and Maverick, everyone is posing to make their final stop with about 14 to 16 minutes left in the run here. I think Cosmic and Maverick are likely on slightly alternate strats, potentially, trying to do something a little bit different. For Cosmic, to be fair, I think his main goal is to spend as much time in clean air as is reasonably possible. Maverick having to deal with a little bit of traffic right now in that number 22. And Cosmic is pitting now. So Cosmic pits with a little bit less than 30 minutes left. About 27 and a half minutes left in the run. So what of Maverick here, who still has yet to make his fourth stop? Also, RP Mullet in 10th also still has yet to make his fourth stop as well. Maverick's going to stay out a little bit longer. Mind you, he is dealing with a bit of traffic. That is Sergeant Strabowski and Apex Predator ahead. We've seen them in this position before. They're in this position again now. Coming down to turn 1, Maverick should be clear of Cosmic. Oh yeah, Maverick is going to be clear of Cosmic. But again, Maverick still has 2 more stops to make. Cosmic only has 1 more to make. But Maverick's strategy thus far has just been to go really long, really deep into these runs. And to be fair, has let him lead quite a few laps. But laps led don't really mean anything in this event. The focus is really just on min-maxing your overall distance stint after stint. Because the team with the greatest total distance covered across all 6 stints is the one that wins. Interesting thing will be if Cosmic catches Maverick, will the 2 of them start fighting very aggressively? There's still a lot of fuel and fresh tires for Maverick right now, so he has every reason to stay out on track for quite some time. Big hold up there as he drops tires into the dirt before and after the corner there. Sergeant Stravoski, 9th, just barely on the lead lap right now, but Cosmic is behind and closing. And Stravoski still looking ahead at Apex Predator. Mind you, Predator and Stravoski are also slowly closing down on Mr. Marmol and the multi-lap down car of Ovixin. And here comes Maverick. He's got to run, and Stravoski really had a bad time out of the final corner. Is Stravoski going to let Maverick go by without issue? And he goes wide, and yes, Maverick goes by without issue. So this also takes off some pressure from Apex Predator. Mullet now pits back there out of 10th position. But Maverick still has yet to make his 4th stop, let alone his 5th stop. And we're down to about 25 minutes left, or 26 minutes left right now. So I wonder if Maverick is going to go ahead and then pit the lap right afterwards. And on one pit stop, just change tires, and then on the next pit stop, only do fuel, just to try and minimize time lost in the pits. And that is Ovixin completely off circuit farther up there, and that's going to really hold up Predator, and that's also going to hold up Maverick a bit. Suboptimal for both of them. That's Stravoski in the background, and Cosmic even farther back, and finally Maverick is going to clear him, and Ovixin is way off circuit farther back there. Ovixin really struggling with that car, but at least it doesn't look like he's damaged it yet, and Maverick finally back into clean air, but not as badly compromised by traffic as Cosmic was, but still, traffic really having an issue. Cosmic has really pulled the gap open on Shredder, has a very big gap on Carnivore as well, and while he is behind Maverick on track, Maverick has to pit an entire extra time, and Floppy Disk Hero is making his final stop with about 25 minutes left in the event, so Floppy Disk Hero is committing to making his final stop very early in the event. Now, where he'll end up in relation to this pack of cars is going to be interesting. Because mind you, Apex Predator is running right here, just behind Maverick, and Maverick has to pit sooner rather than later. Oh, and Maverick has engine damage. That's very suboptimal for Maverick, who now has engine damage. And Cosmic now is at the back of this big tail of cars. And mind you, Floppy Disk Hero is ended up ahead of Cosmic as well. So Cosmic is going to have to deal with traffic again. This has been his Achilles heel throughout the run. He's had a big spin due to dealing with traffic. He's had a big moment off circuit dealing with traffic, trying to close down on Sergeant Stravoski. Stravoski actually pulled to the inside to let Cosmic by, but Cosmic not close enough to do anything about it. Now Stravoski is going to give the inside line the following corner. Cosmic has to deal with a little bit less traffic that time by. fresh tires right now for Cosmic as he looks up the road at Maverick. Well, he's trying to look up the road at Maverick, but the next car he sees is Predator and that Apollo. Give credit where credit due. Cosmic is doing great. When he is solo, when there's no one else around him, he is able to do some incredible laps. If this was just a hot lapping competition, no doubt that Cosmic would be at the top. He took the pole in the event, mind you. His team took the pole in the event. He started first. But fighting and dealing with other cars on circuit has been his Achilles heel, especially dealing with traffic, as now he's going to be held up by Apollo here through the final chicane. But again, he has such a big gap on Shredder, and Shredder has a massive distance penalty, disadvantage to Cosmic as well, that Cosmic doesn't really have to hoof it really aggressively. He can relax and just go for when the opportunity presents itself. About 22 minutes left in this stint. Still being held up by Predator here. And right now, the big problem for Predator is that Predator now sees that Straboski is close enough to Predator, just moves offline to let Cosmic by. He runs the risk of letting Straboski by as well. So yeah, you see Predator trying to be very cautious, letting Cosmic by so he doesn't lose the position. And that will move Cosmic up into the second spot now. Next car on track that he sees is going to be Maverick, who is dealing with traffic in his own right. That is Floppy Disk Hero, who has already made his 5th and final mandatory stops. I think Floppy Disk Hero is on track to finish on the lead lap, barring any sort of catastrophe here. What in the devil? Did anyone else see that? Well, my stream definitely caught it. Maverick going to have to deal with a glitchy Floppy Disk Hero, I guess, as they're coming down to it right now. And Straboski and Predator still relatively close to each other. And now that the leader, Cosmic, has gone by, they shouldn't have to worry about anything else for a little bit. Shredder is still behind them. He'll likely catch him before this is over, but I think it's a little bit less of a concern for them right now. Maverick still leads as he continues to try and cut his way through traffic. That is Mr. Marble if there in was currently 6th spot on track. Floppy Disk Hero taking a little bit too wide of a line there in turn 2 and got into the dirt just a bit. So how much is Marble going to try and defend his line? While there are blue flag rules, you can run, you know, slightly annoying lines to still compromise the leaders a bit if you really want to. I'm shocked that Maverick still is not looking like he's going to pit anytime soon, even with that engine damage. Although he is at 8.7% fuel now, so he'll surely come at the end of this lap. So Straboski is finally up ahead of Predator by the looks of it. And Cosmic now in a position that he can look right ahead at Maverick. A little less than 20 minutes left in the run. We're anticipating drivers to start making their final stops. Maverick still has 2 more stops to make before this event is over. I cannot figure out what kind of strategy Maverick is on right now. All right, Maverick is paying this time by. So we're going to go ahead and spin the flying lap on board with NDL Cosmic as we take one more ad break. And when we come back, we'll be here to the end of the stint. Don't go away here at Silverstone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Silverstone. I am your host for today's broadcast, Insanely Lear 13. We are in the final 16 and a half minutes here of Stint 1. NDL Cosmic looks like he's going to walk off with a Stint win. Not an easy Stint win. He has had lots of incidents happening to him throughout the event, but he has persevered, and the sheer lap time advantage that he has over the rest of the field is going to let him take home the victory. He just has to make one more stop before the race timer up in the corner hits 15 minutes. AFZ Maverick currently runs in second position, but he has yet to make his third stop. Shredder has just finally made his final stop, but he has ended up right in the middle of traffic. He has cars ahead of him and cars behind him to worry about. One of them is Primo Carnivore, but Carnivore is another driver who still has yet to make his fifth and final stop. Shredder is the first of our top 5, actually, to make his final mandated stop. That is Stravoski, who's gone way off circuit there. And we look at the penalties thus far. Cosmic up to 0.073 miles. Shredder is stabilized at about 0.111 miles. So Cosmic still has the distance advantage over Shredder and the penalty advantage over Shredder. Maverick has a massive disadvantage in both, but a slight penalty advantage. Carnivore in fourth is one of only 3 drivers that at this stage of this race still has no distance penalties. It's honestly kind of impressive how that's turned out. Still waiting on Cosmic and Maverick and Carnivore to all make one more stop, as Midnight is now paying out. 12th spot now. And that should likely help Cosmic out a bit. Won't have to worry about dealing with that traffic. In fact, right now, Cosmic is in clean air, and likely, even after making stops, will be in clean air afterwards. Shredder now pulls up behind Apex Predator here. He's going to go around the outside and should be able to clear Predator by the braking zone. He does clear Predator by the braking zone. Now, draft is strong enough for Predator to get right there behind Shredder's rear wing. But it does look like Shredder has the position. Shouldn't be challenged again. Well, for a driver trying to go for the endurance run all 6 stints solo, Shredder is on track for a respectably strong Stint 1 at the bare minimum. Starting second, leading the first 10 minutes, and it looks like it will be a second place result for him. Primo Carnivore is still trying to cut his number 21 through the field right now. Still waiting on Maverick, Cosmic, and Carnivore to make their final stops of the run. Cosmic is in completely clean air right now, though, well ahead of his rivals on track, so there is no pressure on Cosmic. He just needs to remember to actually make the final stop. A little bit of contact there as that Apollo, driven by Apex Predator, gets into Carnivore's rear wing, but not really enough to cause him any problems. And there's Cosmic finally pitting. Now, when he comes out of pit lane, the question is going to be, what kind of traffic will he be dealing with, if any? Because traffic has been his biggest problem all day today. He is well clear of Shredder, though. So unless he gets caught up in traffic and goes for another big spin, I don't think he's really going to be losing his advantage over the rest of the field, his team's advantage over the rest of the field at that. Reminder, that NDL is not just a Cosmic-only effort, that is a team affair. And here comes Carnivore. He's going to be paying out 4th spot now. About 12 and a half minutes left in the stint. As Carnivore now pits out 4th, this will be his final stop. Cosmic has now completed his 5th and final stop. Where is he going to be in relation to Maverick? Maverick coming down through turn 1 and 2, coming down to turn 3. He can see Cosmic just ahead. But this basically sells it that, yes, Cosmic has this by default because Maverick is still required to pit again. And Cosmic is home free to the end. And likely when Maverick pits, he's going to end up behind Shredder. The question is going to be, where is Maverick going to be in relation to Primo Carnivore, I imagine? So also we got word that regarding Ovixen's issues with general pace, it does seem like he is a massive rookie in this series, hasn't run in IARA before, may not have been prepared for this. And to be fair, IARA doesn't often run cars at this level of power. Not saying they never do. They've run IndyCar events before, NASCAR events with high horsepower before. They've run lots of stuff before. But this is a little bit of an offset for them. So Ovixen has really kind of been tossed himself out into the deep end when it comes to what is being done on circuit in today's event. So no shade on Vixen. It is a difficult thing to kind of jump into today. About 11 and a half minutes left now. Still waiting on Maverick, who is right now we are looking at running in 2nd to make his final stop. The only other driver who also has yet to make their final stop is RP Mullet way back there in 10th. At the end of it all, looks like Marmol is going to go a lap down, I think, by the end of this, but Floppy Disk Hero, I think, is going to just barely be able to stay on the lead lap here. So our top 6 out of our 13 starters will finish Stint 1 on the lead lap, but with massive gaps in the field like that, a lot of these drivers are going to be hoping that their rivals either have accidents or disconnects in order to get them results, because the pace has been super spread out throughout the run thus far today. And once again, guess who have found each other is Apex Predator and Sergeant Strabowski. Apex has been fighting with someone basically all stint long after the first round of pit stops. And it's Sergeant Strabowski stalking Predator again with just about 10 and a half minutes left. Word is that Formulaic will be taking over Ovixen's car after this stint is over. Now that car is multiple laps down, so it'll be hard for one driver to dig them out of that hole, but if they can just stay with it and plug in some slightly better times, they might be able to rebound against teams that end up with disconnects as this goes forward. About 10 minutes left in the run now. Shredder having to deal with a little bit of traffic, but I think he's just cleared that traffic, actually, just as I looked at him. So yeah, our focus is going to be on Sergeant Strabowski and Apex Predators. This is going to be a fight for position here. Now, mind you, between these two, we're just waiting on Maverick to pit, so I'm going to change it back to penalty at the end. Between these two, Strabowski has a bit of distance penalty. Apex Predator somehow has gotten no distance penalty over the course of the run today. This is a big size by Strabowski. This is not a good run through Magnus and Beckett's this time for him. A lot of rear end tire screeching there. And there's Maverick finally pitting with 9 minutes left in the run. This will be a really short jump in and jump out pit stop for him. Where is Maverick going to be in relation to Primo Carnivore? That is going to be the big question. Because again, Carnivore has no distance penalty. He is running in clean air. Maverick has been in cleanish air. I think he's going to be behind this big pack of cars that Shredder is leading right now. So I think it's just going to come down to where is Maverick going to be in relation to Carnivore. Carnivore, no distance penalty. Maverick has a little bit of a distance penalty that I'll have to deal with to the end of this stint. Already Maverick coming down to the pit lane exit, and Carnivore hasn't even gotten to the final corner yet, so this should make it very easily work out in Maverick's favor. Yeah, that gap is so big, Maverick is not going to be anywhere close to being challenged by Carnivore. He is relatively close to Shredder on circuit, but the thing is Maverick has about 4 lapped cars between himself and Shredder at the moment. So it's unlikely he'll be able to catch them all and get by Shredder unless Shredder has some sort of catastrophic issue. Shredder now at a quarter of a mile of distance penalties, more than anyone else on circuit. The next highest amount of distance penalty is RP Mullet, running in 11th right now with 0.08 miles of distance penalty. Next highest after that is NDL Cosmic, your stint leader, and inevitable stint winner with 0.073 miles of distance penalties right now. Looking at Apex Predator as he is closed down on Midnight. Midnight has gone about 2 laps down over the course of the run today. But Midnight, again, isn't really going for outright pace and performance, although he would appreciate his focus is that he has challenged himself to do the entire 12-hour event completely solo. Holding station for now over Predator, and Stravosky's a little bit farther back. But again, with that distance penalty, Stravosky has to figure out a way to get ahead of Predator and then stay a certain distance ahead. Actually, I'm going to pull up a calculator real quickly and calculate the exact number of feet ahead he would have to be. He'd have to be about 85 feet ahead of Apex for Stravosky to actually hold that position. Again, this is only the distance after the end of Stint 1. Who knows what it could end up like after the next few stints. Midnight taking a normal line, though. He is not really taking a wild alternate line, but he's not really trying to defend either. He's just running his normal race and running his normal line, and Apex gets by him without too much issue. Now it's Stravosky who has to figure out a way by Midnight through this hairpin. Well, that pretty much sells it in form of Apex then. As Stravosky got right behind Midnight, got in his draft, and the extra speed just took him right off the line, and Stravosky completely off circuit. So I think that settles that battle in Apex's favor to the end of the stint, more than likely. Floppy Disk Hero runs in 6th position right now. But as this is going on, remember, he pitted earlier than everyone else. He's dealing with tire fall off. He has fuel, but he's going to be dealing with more tire fall off than everyone else on circuit, and he is at risk of potentially going a lap down before this stint is over to NDL Cosmic. 5.5 minutes left in the stint. Again, everyone will come to a stop on circuit when that race timer hits 15 minutes. And Cosmic has recovered from a spin. A big pair of slides, one right after another. A lot of dealing with traffic. And losing the lead in the first few corners of the stint. He has come back from all that to open up a fantastic gap on second spot. He is putting the Team Noodle group in a pretty respectable position going into stint number 2. They've got this lap and about one more lap after that. It'll be very interesting to see what the NDL team can do going forward. And they catch Floppy Disk Hero and try and put him a lap down. Again, trying to make up an entire lap is almost impossible in one of these Enduros. It's very easy to lose time. It's almost impossible to regain large chunks of time, though. If Cosmic can catch Floppy Disk Hero, put him a lap down, that would really kind of lock that team out of contention for this win. I would argue that if he can do that, it basically brings the contenders for this event win down to just 5. And AFMG Land's team, they are almost a lap down in their own right as well. Credit where credit is due, though. The top 4 have all closed down just a little bit. Our top 4 are all within the same half lap of each other. So it looks like Cosmic's team, the NDL team, Shredder's team, which is the solo entry, the AFZ team that Maverick is in, and then Primo Carnivore's team. I think those are the 4 teams really going to be going at it for the event win as we are coming down to the end of our first stint here. Alright, here we are. Cosmic has now caught Floppy Disk Hero. Hero taking the outside, wider line. And there is really no fight there. Floppy Disk Hero lets him go by. So only 5 entries are going to finish on the lead lap at the end of Stint 1. And again, I've said this several times, but AFMG Land 101 dealing with a hangover, dealing with a lack of sleep, he is going to put himself in a top 5 result on the lead lap at the end of Stint 1. He said that his plan is that he is going to go to sleep right after the stint is over. Well, I'm going to try. Normally, I would only interview the top 3, but I really want to hear Land's feedback because this has been a pretty solid run for him considering the circumstances that he put himself in going into this run today. As we are at 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in this stint. Looking at Cosmic one more time. Completely clear, no pressure to the end. He doesn't have a lot of fuel left, but it's not really going to be an issue. With only about 2.5 minutes left, he'll be fine on fuel. I do want to give a shout out to the IARA officials for letting me jump in and do broadcasting abilities for this event. This was one of those events that I heard about the car list. I heard about what was going on. I said, hey, this is so unique, so interesting, so new. I really want to jump in right now. And it's been great and fantastic to watch this. Even if the action hasn't been super crazy and constant like we see in other events that I cover, it has been an absolute blast seeing this kind of variety and still an open tuning event, something that's become a bit of a rarity in Forza. But this is an open tuning event here and has had quite a bit of interesting development going forward here. A minute and a half left, so the drivers are not going to be able to finish this lap. That gap between Cosmic and Shredder is going to be about a quarter of a lap right now. And imagine if Cosmic didn't have those big slides, didn't have that spin earlier, didn't struggle as much as he does with traffic. How much farther ahead of Shredder would he be there? Maverick has dropped down! Maverick, one of our top results, has dropped down with a minute and 5 seconds left! One of our top 5 runners disconnected at the very end! Now, we don't know what the disconnect rule is going to be, but for Maverick, disconnecting with a minute and 5 seconds left is going to be catastrophic. I would hope that the officials will be lenient and let him maintain most of the distance covered there, but frustration for Maverick, who was running top 4 and now is suddenly out of it, running 3rd to be exact, and suddenly dropped out of it here. Less than 30 seconds left now. 20 seconds now. As we watch Cosmic go down through Maggots and Beckett's, that is AFMG Land up the road there, but he's not going to catch him by the time this is over. 9 seconds left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Over. Plow. And that will be your end results there. We don't know how it's going to be calculated with Maverick, but Cosmic, of everyone still on track, Cosmic is going to be your stint winner. Shredder, with more than twice the distance penalty, is going to be way back here in 2nd. 3rd place is Primo Carnivore with no distance penalty. 4th is going to be AFMG Land 101, just barely staying on the lead lap at the end of this. Oh my goodness, this camera is going to make me dizzy. 5th will be Floppy Disk Hero. 6th will be Mr. Marmal, who is still ghost mode and still running. We're hoping that they can fix whatever that problem is. 7th will be Apex Predator. 8th will be Sergeant Stravosky. 9th will be Mullet 56. 10th will be RP Mullet. That's a little bit close game. 11th will be Midnight Dash. And 12th will be Tangled O Vixen, who is also ghost moded for some reason. And that wraps up Stint 1. We'll take a Twitch-mandated ad break, and when we come back, we'll try and get interviews with some of our top finishers here at the end of Stint 1. All right. Well, we'll get something at least. Shredder, can you hear me? All right, go ahead and include your audio if you can. All right. We'll keep this really short for you here as well. Lan, can you hear me? Can you include your audio in the Xbox party?
I have, yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here at Silverstone. We're going to get you some really short, quick post-stint interviews here, starting with our second place finisher, SRD Shredder. Shredder started second, took the lead, led the first 10 or so minutes, but as the race went on, it seemed like everything just kind of fell apart from you. What do you have to say about your run out there?
I mean, the fact that I managed to hold it for a few laps was pretty impressive, because just from qualifying, the NDL guys like half a second quicker. I was expecting them to like go off instantly, but yeah. Noticed he had like a few issues like throughout the race, but his overall pace it's far too much. So I was expecting second, and also the car having a mind of its own a few times didn't really help.
All right. Stint 1 down. You have 10 more hours of racing left. Do you think you can keep the car under you for those remaining 10 hours?
I mean, I'm gonna try and do that, but yeah, can't say for certain if the car's gonna kill me at all.
All right. Any worry about fatigue at all?
Not really at the moment. I'm just having dinner right now. So restocking.
All right. Well, Shredder, we'll go ahead and let you go and prepare for Stint 2. And now I want to go ahead and talk with our fourth place finisher, AFMG Lan. Lan, correct me if I'm wrong, you're coming into this event hungover, sleep deprived, very tired, probably going to go to sleep right afterwards. You still put that thing in a fourth place result on the lead lap. How in the world did you do that?
In all honesty, I have no idea, but I am absolutely rooted. I am definitely passing out after this, but no, the car felt pretty good out there. Just try to keep it consistent and do what I can, and yeah, got to fourth somehow, and yeah, I was pretty impressed with that.
All right, I do want to ask before we let you go, who is taking over the car for you in Stint 2?
We have EVX the Gamer doing Stint 2 and 3.
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on that. Lan, go ahead, take some Tylenol. Well, I would recommend against taking Tylenol, but go ahead and take something real quickly and sleep well, mate. We'll let you go.
I will, thank you very much.
All right. And with that in mind, I'll pretty much wrap up our Stint 1 broadcast here at Silverstone, but we will be back in a little bit to start up the broadcast for Stint 2. First bit's in the books, but there's still a lot of racing left. We will return shortly here on Twitch with Stint 2 for IARA's modern GT1 Silverstone Enduro. We look forward to seeing you shortly. Until then, farewell and goodbye, everyone.